Hello everybody, I would like to welcome you to this video titled Evaluating Algebraic Expressions. And I want you to get out your math book and turn to page 15 and get out your math journal and a pencil. So the goal for today's lesson is to evaluate algebraic expressions for given values of the variable. So throughout this lesson, you're going to be given the value of the variable and you'll need to plug it into the algebraic expression in order to solve it. So let's take a look at, first of all, evaluate algebraic expressions for given values of the variable. Okay, so let's take a look at number 3. So it says evaluate 8p when p equals 7. Now remember, anytime a number is next to a variable, that always means the operation is multiplication. It's understood, so it's not going to show you that necessarily. So what we do is we plug in 7 for p. Now what we don't do is just write 87. That's not what they're asking. Remember, it's multiplication, so we'd keep the 8 there, multiply by 7, and that will give you 56. So once again, they're giving us the value of the variable. You will not always be given the value of the variable, but for this lesson you will be. And so we just plug it in within the algebraic expression, 8 times 7, 56. So let's jump over to page 7 here. Page 16. And we're going to take a look at number 2. It says evaluate each algebraic expression when q equals 20. So we have 4 plus 2 times q divided by 11. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in q for 20. So it's going to look like this now. 4 plus 2 times 20. We're going to divide that by 11. Okay, so we got to think about order of operations here. At the top part of the numerator part, we should say, or the top part of our fraction, which means division. 20 and 2 is 40, plus 4 is going to give us 44 over 11. And now we solve 44 divided by 11, and that's going to give us 4 for number 2. So once again, you're just plugging in that 20 for the q. Why is that? Because it's telling us q equals 20. That's why. All right, let's take a look at the next problem here. I'll erase a little bit of this here. And number 3, 125 plus q divided by 7. So we take 125 plus 20. That's going to give me 145 over 7. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to have 7 going into 145. And we'll just do this quickly. 7 goes into 145 20 times. 5 is left over. The denominator stays the same for 20 and 5/7. All right, finally the next one. 11 times q divided by 4 plus 25. So the first thing we want to do is take 11 and multiply it by 20. Okay, so we have 11 multiplied by 20, and that's going to give us 220 divided by 4 plus 25. So we take that 220, and then we divide that by 4, and that's going to give us 55 now. And then we add 25 to that, and that will give us 80 for our answer. Okay, so once again, we're replacing q with 20 because it's telling us to, not because there's a magical connection between q and 20 or anything like that. Okay, it's just because the book is telling us that the variable for q equals 20. Now we're going to take a look at number 5 on page 16. So it says there are n apples in each box. So that's the variable. We don't know how many apples there are in each box. It says write an expression in terms of n for each statement and evaluate the expression when n equals 24. So now that they're telling us n equals 24, we know that there are 24 apples in each box then. Okay, so what we have here for letter A, the number of apples left in the box after 6 apples have been eaten. So what we do is we take the apples in the box, n, subtract 6 from it. Why 6? Because that's how many have been eaten. Now we understand n equals 24, so what that would equal is 24 apples minus 6 that have been eaten. All right, so after we have that, we would have 18 apples left over. Now let's take a look at another one that would represent division. The number of apples each child gets when a whole box of apples is shared equally among 4 children. All right, so we have the total number of apples each child gets when the whole box of apples is shared equally among the children. So whole box of apples is n. It's going to be divided by amongst 4 children. Why is that? Because shared equally amongst 4 children. And so what we do is we take our whole box of apples, which is 24 apples. We share them with 4 different people. I don't know about you, but I've never had a box of apples shared with me, but that's okay. So we take 24 divided by 4, and that's going to give us 6 apples per child there. All right, now for the next one, letter C. The number of apples each child gets when a whole box of apples and another 11 apples are shared equally among 5 children. So this shows us multiple steps here, okay? So what we have here is we have n, that's the number of apples, and then plus 11, because we have another 11 apples are being shared. Okay, apples are being shared just all over the place anymore. Okay, so we have n is the total number of apples plus the additional 11 apples. They're shared now amongst 5 children. Okay, looks like another child wanted to get some apples in here. So what we have here is we have 24 plus 11. Where am I getting my 24 from? That's how many apples I have. Plus 11. It's going to be divided by 5. So we plug in 24 for n. 24 plus 11 is 35. We're sharing them amongst 5 children, which is 5. How many apples does each child get? Would be 7. So we can see how this could be carried out in a real-world situation. And so this concludes the video on evaluating algebraic expressions. If you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.